And we are live. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you are in the world, and welcome to another edition of Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. Our scene starts in the umbral reflection of Central Park, which is currently under a heavy police presence after the incident with the Murloc fish people. More precisely, the Glasswalker kinfolk that were turned into Murloc fish people. Callie, for her part, has deployed her guardians in an appropriate manner, having 2 guardians along with the warder at all times patrolling the set in the Umbra, with Lucas and Garrett acting as runners and messengers for the go-between. After a fairly long night patrolling with Olaf, Callie went home, got about 4 hours of sleep or so, and has woken up and come back to the sept. Currently praying at the altar of Pegasus. Just something that, well, something this Fury has been doing over the past few days, more so than normal.
Not long after Callie arrives there, Wafstinger will as well, knowing that this is probably the best place to find her adoptive daughter at the moment. She'll just kind of walk in and stand there, waiting for Callie to finish her communion with their totem spirit.
There's a lingering accent of Greek coming off of her lips before she finally makes a reverent bow and then stands up, and when wheeling around, blinks a few times before, or in the process of pulling the hood up over her head, she blinks and pauses when she sees Wastinger, who's well aware of her current condition. And she stops, and having been, the last time she saw her was on the heels of a rather heated moment. There's still a hint of awkwardness there. The how do I approach this for the young face, and Callie simply places her hands in her pockets and walks up to Wastinger, nods to her. Hey.
Hey, how are you holding up?
I've had better days, but I've certainly had worse.
Wafstinger just nods. I've contacted the Sept of Bygone Visions.
That's good. Do they understand my condition?
She nods. Their Right Master Tiresias has agreed to assist in summoning Pegasus for us to speak to.
Good. Just want this over with. Feel like a stranger in my own skin.
She nods. How are you handling this business with the police state?
The first part of it was to reorganize. The orders that I put out for the general public of the Sept, I hope, are being adhered to. As for we Guardians, keeping it mostly Umbral on our rounds. I have yet to have a chance to sit down with Morning Kill and Emmett to talk about the actual police response and see what we can do on that front, but everything happened so quickly, and without Emmett there to block the methods of which their cameras were being used, there was only so much that could be done. Now it's just trying to figure out how to deal with it in the wake of all that, I guess.
So, I've heard a few other things. I heard that you let Travis go from the Guardian position.
I did.
Why?
Travis very publicly in front of my guardians decided that he was going to start ordering them around after I had already told this Corps that it comes down to my orders. I took up this responsibility. He didn't. And for him to give orders to my Cleus without even consulting me first was him and I may share the same rank, but on the actual staffing billet of this SEP, I'm the one in command. And he circumvented and completely threw all sense of that chain of command to the wind, openly and publicly. We're the standing militia of this SEP, me, Emmett, and the Guardians. And frankly, I can't have that kind of insubordination in this Corps when we're trying to get things done together. He doesn't want to listen to reason. He doesn't want to respect me or listen to me. I don't need that. Not in a time of crisis. Not right now.
Understand. You've been very distracted lately. I would be too with this sort of predicament. That your head may not be all clear, but you understand what you just did was a political train wreck, right?
I am not interested in politics when it comes to the defense of the SEP. You should know that by now. And as far as any qualms he may have about it, I don't care how he feels about it. He dodged the duty. He decided he did not want to be warder. He didn't even want to see the trial through to the end. And I was stuck cleaning up after that in a general sense. Not necessarily very specific, but I won this position by default because he didn't want the responsibility. So when it comes to his opinion on matters, when it comes to what he thinks, unless it's solicited, I'm not too interested in the ideas of someone who step down when they should have been stepping up. Like my mom used to say, step up or step aside. And I'm doing everything in my power to try and step up before I even think about stepping aside.
No, he was just trying to step up too. I know you two have quite the history together, and I know that he may not be the best at getting his ideas across, but Travis has been in your shoes before. He's done this job. And what may have looked like insubordination to you was just him looking out for the Guardians and for the Sept.
Maybe. But there is a procedure to go through. Procedures that I've had to learn about the hard way. How many times was I reprimanded for summoning spirits in the Sept?
That's not the subject we're talking about, Callie. You know this move, at the very least, is going to earn you the ire of the Fianna. At the most, it's going to make you look like a tyrant.
My guardians stand with me. They understand why I did it, and they stand behind my decision. And all of them know that I don't throw down in a way that prevents them from voicing their opinions or their ideas.
Just saying, you need to be careful. Every decision that you make affects the Sept as a whole. And I'm not saying that to scare you, it's the truth.
I'm well aware of what my actions do, what implications they can have.
CEO Wastinger wrings her hands a bit. Well then, you understand the consequences of your position and your actions in such a position. I have a position as well, Wastinger says. She sort of begins pacing. And those of us on the Council of Elders have come to an agreement.
If you're getting ready to say what I think you're going to say, Callie just shrugs. I didn't earn this position. It was handed to me on a silver platter.
Regardless, it is your position for now. Those of us on the Council of Elders are going to give you one chance to fix this mistake before we strip the title from you completely.
Because of Travis? Or because of the veil breach?
The veil breach, primarily. Your political decisions are your own, and whether or not I agree with them, that's not the problem here. The problem is that you saw fit to assume your war form in front of a bunch of police officers.
Callie stops dead and just looks at Lostinger. Really? Do you know why those police officers responded in the first place?
I understand that there were gunshots on set.
There were. Do you know
That
who
would not
fired?
reach. The firing of a gun? We're in a city. Would have been minor legal trouble. Morning Kill could have had it sorted out in a week.
Those cops very well may not have even been there had it not been for Leah.
Are you pinning the blame on this situation on your sister?
I'm saying that there was a situation that got out of hand, Alexandra. We had kinfolk turning into Fomori in the middle of the Tolarian. 2 kinfolk were there that were in danger. Third, a cub who has ties to a royal line.
A royal line that will be very angry at us if it catches wind of what happened here.
My point being is, what did you want us to do? What would you have done in this situation?
What would I have done? Not assumed my war form in front of a bunch of humans, not assumed my war form in front of what could possibly be a camera. You understand that cops in the state of New York have to wear cameras and have them on their cars, right?
I tried to deal with that. And at that point, all we had were civilians, potentially civilians standing around, witnessing these fish beings attacking people moving at ludicrous speeds. The delirium is there for a reason, is it not?
The delirium isn't a foolproof plan to protect you from consequences.
It's better than nothing.
It is the result of a bloody, brutal time period that we should not be taking pride in.
I'm not taking pride in it. It's something that happened. It's a consequence of something that happened, and we are forced to endure it. And if it helps us potentially cover the veil, then why not use what's at our disposal?
Because you can't come to rely on it. You need to be smart.
Did you understand the amount of... We had 3 Fomori that were soaking up lots of damage.
I was briefed on the situation, Kelly.
So what do you want me to do? What did you want me to do in that situation? Have me, Olaf, Maeve, and out of character it was Garrett, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Would you have preferred me, Olaf, and Garrett going in Glabro and potentially been killed? Potentially have them get past us and attack Leah and Lucas? Let's say that we didn't go into our Krynos forms, into our war forms, and one of us bowled over, and now we were dealing with a dead Furykin. What's more shameful? Veil breaches happen. I understand that, and I understand they're not to be taken lightly. But if you want to throw this in my face as some grievous failure, I'll tell you straight up. Just as the incident with the Coney Island Bridge, when it comes to the defense of kinfolk, I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Do you want me to be honest with you, Callie?
I never asked anything different from you.
Casualties happen. Shattering the veil has the potential to cause more deaths than one breach. Shattering the veil could put all of us at risk, not just in New York, but across the world. And if the life of one person has to be sacrificed, you understand what we have to do. Glabro forms are more powerful than you give them credit for. You could have called in for backup. You could have... Oh, Stinger just shakes her head. Regardless, conclusion we've come to. You have 2 weeks to set all of this right.
And who are you going to put in the position if I should fail?
We've done some discussion on that matter. We find that the Sept would do well with the discipline of a Dies Ultima. Callie, I've had a lot of faith in you since you made Audren, since you took up the position of warder. Don't think that I've lost that. But this is serious and we need to be tough.
Callie will just simply nod.
She'll put her hands on her shoulders. Look, this can still be fixed. You can still do this. I want you to succeed. I want you to make up with Travis. I want things to go back to normal.
You want things to get back to normal? If that's the case, I need to know something. It's not related to any of this. How are you going to fix things with my mate?
We'll be approaching one of the Sept's Philodox. Victoria, most likely. I will ensure that your mate sees that this sort of transgression against kinfolk does not go unpunished. Morning Kill. Though he is the ranking Philodox and the only one in the Sept of my rank is of my pack, and I do not want to risk getting preferential judgment.
Then seek judgment of a different sort.
Raises an eyebrow. What's that?
We're going to see Pegasus, aren't we?
We are. About you?
Then, of all the tribes, our totem seeks to protect women, seeks to protect children, seeks to protect the weak. and someone who expects all of their children to step up in this role. I can't think of anybody who would be more judicious in what they would do.
Pegasus has greater things to worry about. Punishment is a Philodox's job. If you would prefer I seek out a Black Fury Philodox, then I will do so when we reach the Sept of Bygone Visions.
Why did you put your hands on her?
You know better than anyone that when emotions run high, we frequently do things that do that.
She'll reach out and take Alexander's hands. I can't go through life not having you or her in it. I know she's who I want to be with.
She'll squeeze Callie's hands. And I promise you, I will do all that I can to make this right. I don't expect her to ever forgive me, but I will face all the judgment in the world if it means that you can be happy with your mate.
Callie just kind of lets out a lamenting sigh and nods. Just being with her isn't making me complete. I have to have my family there. When it comes down the road and her and I decide to seek out methods of starting a family, I want you there.
And I'll be here. Callie, I promise. No matter what happens, I will still be here by your side. You're still family to me.
Callie smiles, satisfied with the, at least that Lostinger seems to be dedicated to fixing the situation. And with that, Callie will begin the rite of homecoming.
The Lostinger will do the same. The two Furies will arrive in the Sept of Bygone Visions not long after. I will be greeted, as the arrangement already said, by a man. A clearly Greek-descended man in a wheelchair. He has a cloth over his eyes. But he seems to be waiting very patiently.
Out of character, what's his name?
Tiresias.
Tiresias. Callie will step forward and kneel down onto one knee. Tiresias, Raya?
He tilts his head down at her. Takes him a moment. But he sniffs the air. Says, Lostinger, is this the one? She'll say yes. This is Callie. And Trisius will approach and he'll gently put his hands on her face, sort of feeling it for a moment. So it is true.
It is. It's been a traumatic couple of days.
Do you know what's caused this?
I was given some idea, but I do believe that Wastinger has more grasp and understanding of the situation than I do.
When did this happen?
Last weekend, I had gone down to bed for the evening with my mate, and I was sleeping under a blanket given to me by a member of her family. When I awoke, I was like this.
Who is this family member that gave you the blanket?
He goes by the name of Roanoke, a Theurge of the Uktena.
Not surprised Nuktena managed to get some of this, though I've never heard of it weaponized.
He bound a odd little spirit into it. A bucket spirit?
Probably to hold the plague.
I was holding out some hope that this was not deliberate, that it was something I had done, something I had missed. That's not the case, is it?
It's impossible to tell with the Uktena. Whatever it is he's harnessed, even we know nothing about. We've seen it crop up mostly in wild touched umbral realms. The word some of our theurges have for it is a plague.
Aside from the obvious change, I don't feel ill or debilitated, though my connection to Pegasus has been weakened. I can't use my Bow of Artemis as I used to. It rebels against me at times.
But it still works at all. He actually sort of rubs his chin.
That bow and I have been through a lot together, and I take care of it extremely well. She is as much a part of me as I am a part of her.
Nods. Perhaps Pegasus will be able to teach us more about this. You still smell of the tribe. Our fetishes still work for you. He nods. That's a good sign.
She'll chuckle nervously. I was half expecting to be met with surprised hostility for entering into the Sept as a male.
Tiresias actually smiles a little. This is my home, Sept.
Fair point.
And I'm sure the other members of the Sept would want nothing more than for you to return to your old state.
Do you think Pegasus will be able to do this?
Pegasus is powerful and wise. At the very least, he'll be able to help.
Callie nods, biting her lower lip, but nods.
Tiresias will look to Callie and Wafstinger. Would the two of you like to help me collect Cheminich for the summoning?
Of course.
Very well. There is quite a bit of ambient gnosis near the Sept's heart. Aside from that, we have our fields of grapes. If you could go pick some of those. And some of the kin should have some wine left over in barrels.
I'll go get some grapes then.
He nods. Wafstinger will volunteer to go collect the gnosis. And as the two of them go out on their little adventure, Tiresias will begin the summoning. And of course, he will be sure to take his sweet, sweet time.
Callie, for her part, goes off into the orchards. Or I guess they're not orchards, they're vineyards, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Goes off into the vineyards and begins to collect grapes out of these umbral grape trees, I suppose, or grapevines. Asking permission before she does, though. She doesn't want to start picking fruit off of a vine that has a semi-state of intelligence to a full state of intelligence.
Callie will notice that while she is granted permission to pick the grapes from the vineyards, the kinfolk don't leave her alone. They kind of like hover not very far away, kind of staring in awe.
After a bit, she finally like turns around and just looks at them with kind of this. It's not a look of indignance. It's just this look of curiosity, like, what?
This other one of them, clearly Karoo, seeing the difference in muscle mass and demeanor, will sort of take a few steps forward, shoo some of the kin away. Apologize. Our kin are not used to seeing non-metis males on the Sept. Who lets you in here, stranger?
Tiresias.
What business do you have that you're collecting grapes for?
wanted to speak to our patron.
And up goes an eyebrow. Our patron? Are you a Metis?
No, I am Fury.
She seems equal parts curious and perplexed. You need a hand with those grapes?
Sure, if you want to help.
Duh. She'll step forward and begin assisting Callie in picking the grapes. So, I'm curious, what's your story?
Callie just sort of shrugs. Oh, family squabbles, I suppose.
Family squabbles?
Let's just say that sometimes when you try and do the right thing, sometimes others become offended and take it out on you.
He nods. So, who'd you piss off so much to make this happen?
Anoctena.
Damn. I guess you got off pretty lucky then, huh?
Some might say that. I'm still capable of doing, well, my duties in any given day.
She shakes her head. Damn. After a while, she'll finish up with helping Callie pick those grapes and set the bucket down beside her.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Good luck with. She sort of waves her hand awkwardly. Yeah, good luck. And she's going to go. And as she leaves, Callie will see those kinfolk kind of gaggle around her and start whispering. Like whispering very excitedly.
I gotta do a perception and alertness to see if I can't gather what they're saying.
Okay.
One success.
You know how the Sept of the Green has the Fianna gossip machine?
Mm-hmm.
This appears to be that. They're all sort of like gawking over the fact that there's a man in the Sept. The guru that assisted you is telling them not to get too excited. The and then a couple of the kinfolk are kind of arguing about whether or not it's possible for a Black Fury to be a non-Metis male. They're basically arguing about whether or not you're a real Black Fury.
I'm gonna roll willpower to not do something potentially stupid.
Okay.
I think I'm alright.
You should be fine.
Callie's just like, in any other circumstance, I might be tempted, but given the situation, I'm just going to let this one go. And Callie will just pick up the bucket, thank the grapevines, and make her way back to the ritual area.
And when you return, you'll actually see Tiresias. He's taken everything off but basically his pants, and he has his wheelchair nearby, but he's sitting in the middle of a circle of sage and various herbs with smoke sort of billowing around him, and he is singing in Greek for Pegasus to come and grant them audience.
Callie will bring the grapes first and then go back for a cask of wine.
He'll open one eye and, well, he's blindfolded. He'll sort of wave to her to let her know that he's here, or that he sees that she's here, and continue his singing. From the look of the sweat on him and the sort of slight breathlessness that comes with the singing, he seems to have been out at this for a while.
Callie's going to pull the scarf and the jacket and the hood and everything and just kind of go down to the bare bones of shirt, pants, shoes, and not try and hide anything or obscure anything, and tie those long strands of hair up into a high bun. At this point, a man bun. The shame.
You fucking hipster, Callie. You fucking hipster.
Indeed. And Callie will just simply sit down just outside of the circle, sort of look around for a Wastinger.
There is no Wastinger to be found. Not at the moment, anyway.
Then Callie will ask, "May I join you in the circle?"
Tiresias will nod.
And she'll stand and walk into the circle and sit directly across from him.
He does not stop singing for even a second, although if you'd like to make a wits roll, you could probably memorize the chant and join in.
I'll spend a willpower because the last time I didn't spend a willpower on a wits-related roll, things went horribly wrong.
Accidentally summons Fenris. Whoops.
And it's a good thing I did. Look how bad that would have been. That's going to be the new thing. Anytime Vinny gets a wits roll, willpower. Callie will. Callie's not much of a singer. I don't even think Callie has any dots in performance. So it's kind of like singing along at choir or something like that, where you don't know the words or you're still half asleep because it's like 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning. That's what it's coming out. It's like, she definitely picks up on the chorus and the high points, but struggles with the song because I just don't have enough dice to make that good. I can try if you really want.
Yeah, give it the old college try.
Does Pure Breed help in this situation?
Actually, yes.
Ah. I'm going to go ahead and assume that the warder bonuses would not apply here.
No.
Okay, so just straight up Pure Breed and Charisma. Do I have any dots in Expression, maybe? No. So it would be 6 minus 1 dice. I get 1 success because of Noble Heritage.
You're You're okay. At the very least, you're not making it worse. Tiresias has not stopped the summoning to politely tell you to shut up, so that's a good sign. And after a while, Lostinger will return, jumping out of, well, I'd say we're all in the Umbra at this point. So she just walks into the summoning area and
Here's
joins you all.
Callie's atrocious singing.
She tries not to laugh at Callie's singing and takes a seat, also barefoot. And she joins in to see if she's much better.
She turns out to be like a freaking virtuoso.
She's alright. She seems like she's done this before.
Callie's just gonna sort of turn an eye in her general direction, like, you son of a bitch.
She opens one eye and then, like, smiles at Callie, goes back to concentrating. And now I'm gonna make Tiresias's roll. Actually, make me a stamina roll to keep this going for another hour.
Callie gets all tuckered out. Her voice gets hoarse. Probably the fact that she only got 4 hours of sleep. She's struggling to match Tiresias's considerable stamina.
Even Wafstinger gives out after a while. Neither of them are a match for Tiresias's impressive singing, apparently. And now Tiresias rolls his summoning.
That was a deflation of, oh God, please let this be okay.
Considering he got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 successes. I think we're all right.
Pegasus is just happy to show up, overjoyed. Like, Teresi, buddy! You should have called sooner.
Like, Pegasus is so happy he brings Chimnage. Yeah, it's a mere seconds after finally you feel that release of Gnosis as Tiresias finally finishes the rite. And as he leans back to cease his singing, you hear the hoof beats in the distance, and they come in a flash as the image of your tribal totem. Not the totem level. This is Pegasus himself stands before you.
Callie is going to cower ever so slightly because she's been in the presence of a god before, and the last time she was, it hurt a lot. I'm going to say that that's just a reflexive thing for Callie now.
Pegasus, you feel like the hot breath come from Pegasus's nostrils as he leans down and drinks some of the wine and sort of sits in the middle of the circle, and he just waits. He actually seems pretty patient. You don't know Pegasus to be a particularly calm totem / spirit.
Callie will swallow very hard before looking for Tiresias's lead to know when it's okay to speak.
Pegasus will actually wait a few moments before nodding to the 3 Black Furies. Why have I been summoned here tonight?
Callie will slowly raise a hand. That would be me.
Pegasus swings his massive head around to meet Callie's eyes. You feel the hot breath of his nostrils on you again as he sort of takes a few sniffs and then like snorts.
Callie will stand and hold out a hand towards Pegasus and sort of lowering her head in reverence.
Pegasus, while it keeps its very godlike, very regal demeanor, you see a flash of confusion over its face. You smell of my children, but you are not Metis. Who are you?
I am Calypso Lucille Krykos of the Black Furies, daughter of Selene Krykos of the Krykos line, deeded Vigilant Bow, Full Moon of the Septith Green.
We've met before. What is this? It sort of, Pegasus sort of like gestures all over your body. You get a sense of what he's asking about.
Callie shakes her head. I seem to have offended a member of Uktana's brood, and this is what was done to me. I've been infected with some sort of wild plague.
So the Uktena took from you that which was most important.
Yes.
See, Pegasus sort of like stamps a hoof, digs it into the dirt.
One of many things that are important to me. My identity has been what has gotten me through some of the darkest moments. The only solace I've found, aside from who and what I am, has been my family and my friends.
Pegasus nods. How did this come to be, my daughter?
Callie's gonna choke up and actually tear up at being called daughter, given the current situation. And she'll explain in detail to Pegasus what happened. Explain the situation between her and Amara, how the two of them wanted to be together, but to ensure that no other Garu of any tribe could claim Amara, that they proclaimed that they were mated to one another. And in doing so, angered some, others were very supportive, and that when the time was right, they would see about starting a family. And then explain the circumstances of which she received what she thought was a gift from Rowan, who was often extremely scarce given his affiliation with Uktena and doing what Callie could only assume were very important things. And explain what it was like to wake up on Black Friday with a considerable change. Essentially explain the fear and the pain, the panic. And when she gets to the point of where things got pretty hectic, she'll look to Wastinger to see if she should continue further or stick to the facts.
Ostinger looks at Callie like she would really prefer this to be about Callie.
When Callie sort of finishes, she'll look back up at Pegasus. The situation on the whole has led to problematic relations and very stressful situations for all parties involved, those that are close to me. It hasn't been a good week.
Pegasus just listens. He doesn't provide any commentary, though the mentions of the Uktena who basically snatched Callie's always seem to flare up a bit of irritability in the Great Spirit. See his eyes sort of glow a bit. Our greatest theurges are researching what this does. We've never seen it happen to Guru before. His ears sort of swivel around. You get the feeling that he's like probing his various incarnations for information of this.
Callie stands there quietly, just sort of her fingers like have the end of her shirt and are rifling at something fierce. She's very nervous, very apprehensive, very scared. She has a feeling in her gut that the problem she's facing may not be resolved.
After a while of this meditation, Pegasus sort of, his attention returns to this area, sort of shakes his head. We've learned next to nothing.
And I am to remain this way.
Thinks for a minute. I do not know. All instances that the Theurges that follow me have encountered, nothing has changed back.
Callie just slumps to the ground.
See, Pegasus also looks very, very disappointed in this, though he doesn't even begin to slump. He looks very sad for his child. I have had children before who were born in the wrong bodies. Who have a female spirit despite the condition they were born in.
And they were, as all of them, sent away with her mother's tears.
The ones of male body and male spirit, they leave our tribe. But there are cases of the spirit of a guru being different than the one that they inhabit. You see it with those of us who are born as spirits the most. There is a gift taught to the youngest members of my tribe by the spirits of their ancestors or the spirits of seahorses. Frowns can give you your appearance back, though I know not of the functionality.
Callie looks up. I don't want to be this. I don't want to have my connection to you hampered because of the ill deeds of someone else. I don't know why this lieutenant decided to lash out at me like this, and frankly, at this point, I don't care. I have suffered many trials. As a guru, I have done things for this nation. And in many facets, that's still not enough. For too many. I'll do anything. Just fix this, please.
Pegasus will lean forward, actually sort of gently press his nose against Callie in an attempt to comfort her.
Callie just swallows hard and openly weeps at this point. Just beyond distress, beyond distraught.
Pegasus' wings will wrap around his child. He'll say, I will make it priority that our theurages make sure that this never happens again. Make sure that this can be reversed.
All right, bye. See you later.
Is there nothing you can do?
Bye.
This new thing is beyond my power at the moment. It must be
Hey, Judy, come on.
understood to be changed. But there is no child of mine whose womanhood can be taken away from her. Not by a plague, not by an Uktena, not by anything.
Callie just doesn't respond. She sort of curls up on herself and sighs.
Pegasus turns to look to Tiresias.
I think we need to put him back in the box.
Sort of moment of silent communication before Pegasus takes to the skies and leaves them.
When Pegasus leaves, Callie stands up and walks back to her jacket and begins to wrap the scarf back around her neck.
Lostinger will stand up and get dressed as well, and Tiresias will crawl back to his wheelchair. The two elder Furies they look fairly disheartened, but Tiresias will speak up again. Pegasus has ordered me to learn about this plague. There is still hope yet.
It takes a long moment for Callie to respond as she lets out a heavy sigh and looks over. A god couldn't fix me. I have
He reaches a hand out, reaches for one of hers.
she doesn't fight him to have him take it, but she doesn't. Her fingers just kind of remain limp. They're trembling.
My sister, he and his whole tribe, we're going to come together and work on it. And he tilts his head up. There is nothing that we in our tribal totem cannot accomplish. You must have faith. She'll squeeze her hand.
Callie just lets out a heavy sigh. I trust that you're Callie just nods, and as she went to say something, just can't find the words. They get caught up in her throat. And just has nothing but utter despair written across her face as she waits for him to release her hand.
He'll release it. Now is the time to be strong, Vigilant Bow. the time for despair. We have not lost yet. So long as there is hope, you are a sister to me, and you are a sister to the tribe.
I make a willpower roll for Callie. And well, she doesn't fall into Hirano. She'll summon the bow, pull it off her back, and just hand it over to Wastinger.
Wastinger looks a little perplexed, but she'll take it.
And Callie begins to walk back towards the entry circle.
Nearby, she will be sure to thank Tiresias before following Callie back.
You know, you were right about a lot of things.
She looks over at Callie. Hmm?
I've realized something.
What's that?
I'm not ready for a lot of the things that this world has to throw at me. And if I'm not even able to handle a change in skin, I'm no good as water.
She'll put an arm around Callie's shoulders. Sometimes the wisest thing that you can do is admit you're not ready for something.
When you get back, make sure you tell my family that I love them.
Where will you be going?
I don't know.
Callie, we can't lose you now.
Sometimes you can place so many things on to a solid structure over and over and over again. It'll hold out. It'll groan and whine under stress. Sometimes even fracture.
Callie, I promised you I would stick by your side, and I would be here to help you. You can't be telling me you're gonna run away now. Not when we all need you the most.
It's what I'm good at, right? I can't even pick up my bow anymore without it fighting me.
We can still fix this. It's not over. After all that's been done, after all the work you put in, after all everybody's done, you can't just run away now.
I don't have any fight left in me. I've tried and tried and tried. And every time I push harder, every time that I try and press through a barrier set in front of me, I push through in one area and something else goes wrong. I form a pack, and the membership is fractured, and it falls apart. I form a family, and they pull away from me, ostracize me, and ultimately leave me. I join a pack, and its membership is fractured and taken away and falls to the worm. I push for water, and everything I do blows up in my face. I try and remain committed to someone I care about, and someone deems it fit to destroy me and everything that makes me whole and a person for some possessiveness or some other reason that's beyond me, and doesn't even have the fucking balls to come and say it to my face. From the moment that I changed, everything around me has crumbled away. And I'm standing here laid bare in front of you, and I just don't have it in me to keep going.
And let us be your strength. Let your family, let your sept, let us give you what it takes to be strong and to keep going. It's okay to admit that you're hurting. It's okay to admit that you don't feel you can go on, but please don't give up. She'll sort of turn towards Callie and hold her shoulders like very firmly in her grip. Please do this for me. I'm not giving you an order as an elder here. I'm asking you as family.
She'll whisper in Greek as she just begins to break down again. In Greek, she says, "Help me, Mother," and then just falls into Wastinger. Her light's completely giving out.
Wastinger will hug her tight. Wait until she calms down or until she loses the energy to continue. She will carry her back to the sept, back through the umbra, back to where she and Amara are staying. She'll set Callie down on the bed. Brush her hair away. Be strong for us, Callie. We'll be strong for you.
And I think there we can end our scene.